Welcome back to another episode of Admit It with Alexis White. I'm very excited to have these two ladies with us. Two ladies, why don't you introduce yourselves?
I'm Marissa Klein K. This is my sister.
I'm Jamie Sztoser, and we are the co-founders of
The DreamCatchers.
The DreamCatchers.
DreamCatchers, helping you catch your dreams. But what does that actually mean? Tell me what you guys do.
So we can unpack that quite a bit, but I feel like for the tagline for us, you help people get in, we help people get out.
I love that.
Now
that is a collab right
Yes,
there.
that is a collab right there. We are what we like to call job search strategists. So there are a lot of people out there that call themselves resume writers, career coach, all of the above. We help people strategize and organize their job search. That's basically the very short answer to what we do.
And how old are people when they come to find you?
Great question.
What does that look like?
So we run the gamut of who we help, but the emphasis of the last few years, or what we have by accident become experts in, I would say would be a relatively new grad or a new grad, and now
College students.
Most recently, we are leaning into working with juniors and seniors in college, and if we can be greedy or selfish for them, we would work with them from junior and senior year to prepare them for their
internship search and then job search.
And their career first job strategy.
I like to get them in 9th grade.
Yes.
Yeah, 10th, 11th. Like, so you guys
Just
are
prepare
exactly,
them.
we're mirroring each other.
Yes.
Exactly. Interesting. How did you get started?
Marissa and I have been working together for, I think it's 15 years.
I've known her for much longer.
Yeah.
Probably your whole life.
My whole life.
Your whole life. That's amazing.
Almost 45 years in March.
mazel.
So thank you. So our dad, Steve, was the founder of a staffing agency in New York City. For those that don't understand what that means, headhunter, career builder, whatever you want to call them. So he did that forever. And
Recruiting firm.
What? Recruiting firm. And we both went to college and didn't work for him when we first got out. We were exactly the type of person that we help now, which was I went to Michigan, Marissa went to Richmond. We came out of school and we had a dream job, and we hustled and we found it. And ironically ended up coming to the family business later for different reasons, which we can unpack in another time, or we could talk about forever.
So
maybe that's over
quick
drinks
insert.
later.
Yes, that's over
Quick
drinks.
insert because it's 21
years this week.
right now. So I worked in fashion and beauty. That's all I ever wanted. My resume looked like someone threw up on it. I sat my father down. I said that I wanted to open a division of a fashion division of the family staffing firm. He said no, and then I did it for 18 years.
So she started her own division of the firm after getting laid off in fashion.
Yep.
I went to school thinking I wanted to work in music PR. I ended up in beauty PR, then consumer healthcare.
All the New York City fun jobs.
Yes. And then I switched into recruitment. So I was already recruiting. So I didn't realize that it was actually in my blood the whole time. And I had interned for my dad in high school and college, but never thought I would end up joining the family business because I was like, I'm a good writer. I'm a good communicator. Like, I think I want to do PR. And it turns out I actually wanted to be a recruiter and HR person, but didn't know it until I had a great boss that, told me about it.
Teach you the skills and make you realize what some of the buzzwords are.
Yes.
And the great boss would be?
I had a terrible boss, actually. I hated him. And I went into HR to complain when I was at my PR agency. And I was like, I'm just not happy. I don't know what it is that I'm not doing right. Like, I should love this. I went to school for this. This is what I wanted to do this whole time. And she said to me, her name is Mary Beth, and she was my mentor then, and she's still my mentor now. And Mary Beth Seibel, and she said to me, I want you to go home and think about the 3 things you love about your job. And by the way, we do this with clients to this day. And my answers as a PR person should have been, I love taking editors out. I love when I see my product in print at the time, now would be online.
Right.
And my answers were, I love running the internship program. I love doing the newsletter, and I love doing the bulletin boards. And she said, none of those things are your job.
No wonder you don't like your job.
Yeah.
She's like, that's HR. I'm like, what? And she's like, why don't you come work for me? So P.S., I ended up going to work for her, learning about HR and recruitment, and then went off and worked at Turner Broadcasting, part of Time Warner. And then Marissa was pregnant with her second daughter. She was already working for my dad. And I was about to get pregnant with my first son. And she's like, what if you just come and like cover my desk? I was in between jobs.
While you were on maternity leave.
Yes. She's like, come and cover my mat leave. So 3 months, and I was like in between something at the time. And I started and thought I was just going to cover her mat leave and then never left. So I was with her for almost 13 years at Choice. And we were placing people, mostly new grads. We basically worked on entry level to director jobs. Those were the types of jobs that companies would outsource to us. Companies all over New York City that many have heard of, many companies that you would never have heard of because they hired recruiters for that reason, to help with the quote PR and marketing of who they are and how to find people to work there. So it was very similar skill set to what I had already learned how to do. So we did that for a long time together. And then in 2018, we had a great team of girls that worked for us. We loved them, and they sat down and we would talk about work all the time.
People.
Very special people in our life now still. And we sat down and we talk about work all the time. Why you work, what makes you work, what empowers you about work, why women work, why people go back to work after having kids. And they said to us, you guys should start a podcast. Like this was 2018. And we were like,
what's a podcast?
Literally, what's a podcast? Like we had heard about them, but we were like, what? And so we decided to do it. We recorded our first episode in like the fall of 2018, and we've since recorded 90 episodes. And at the time, we were looking for a name, and we had gone on a yoga retreat and saw a dream catcher above our beds. And we were like, this is what we do for people. We help people get unstuck. And
you get through the clutter. You figure out how to quiet the noise. You trust the process. You remember that the story is written. We just have to do the work to get there. And we help people figure out how to do one of the hardest things that any of us have to do. What's the expression? Like taxes and
death and taxes.
taxes.
The only things that we can be sure about.
Right.
Yep.
So the thing behind death and taxes that I think pretty much sucks the most is looking for work.
I agree. Yeah.
It is an unfortunate, I mean, sure, relationships and, all the things that we all have to deal with growing up. But like, as far as like a human condition that is like completely unsung, dark horse enemy of growing up is looking for a job.
And what you're going to do and how it defines you. And so at that time we were still recruiting, and we did the DreamCatchers podcast as a side hustle to fill our own buckets, because we just loved talking to people and about what people do. We geek out on people's jobs. Like the first thing I ask someone is like, oh, what do you do? What did you used to do?
Literally
like,
right before. I'm like, I have 75 questions.
Yeah,
to you,
like
but
I
we
want to
don't have to do it
understand
on
how
the
you.
podcast.
It's like I want to know where you went to school. I want to know how you got there. I want to know where to high school. I want to know
how did this start?
How
When
did it
you
all
join?
happen?
Yeah.
And so we would talk about that on the pod for fun. And then our dad was retiring and COVID happened all at the same time. Our dad was selling the business. It was 2020. And everyone around us that knew us, or old clients, old colleagues, started to come to us to ask, like, I need a new resume. Like, I need a LinkedIn. I am not equipped to do this. I need your help. And so we started to like side hustle to our side hustle and just dabble in a little bit of career counseling, if you want to call it that.
Professional
services. Still working for our dad at the time, and did it under the DreamCatchers umbrella. Very dabbly at the beginning. And then we built it from there. So now we are what we like to call, one-on-one job search strategists. We work with clients of all ages, many of our own peers, moms looking to go back to work. But lately, as Marissa mentioned, we have found our niche in the college student and the new grad, because we feel like we want to change the way people look for work. That you should
I'd like to start earlier.
Yeah.
I want to get to them earlier. I want to remind them what they're good at sooner.
Right.
And I want to help connect those dots for them so that when they're doing this search, they're not, instead of being so incredibly reactive. So we say all of the time, okay, job search is not reactive. And the last big thing you do before job search, Jamie loves to say this part.
You can say it.
No, I like your buzzline better. But the last big thing that you do, your first real huge milestone,
Is what you help them
is
with.
apply to college.
Right.
And what
now-
do you do when you apply to college?
Go ahead, Alexis. What do you do?
You apply, and you then what?
Wait.
You wait.
And that is the thing.
And guess
that
what?
no one can do.
And guess what? When it comes to job search,
the last thing you
the
do
last
is wait.
thing you do is should be doing is waiting.
And I'm always saying you have to wait. You have to be comfortable
have
waiting.
to
You have to be
wait.
comfortable in the discomfort. You have to this.
And the
but if
thing
you're
is, for
waiting in the
them,
job search, what
You're waiting with
you're just
everybody
waiting
else.
with everyone else.
right.
So what we try to teach them is
We have to undo those thoughts.
a lot of the skill set that we use to build our businesses over the years was professional stalking is really what it is. It's networking, it's outreach, it's follow-up, respectfully stalking. But figuring out people that you can contact to follow up. And literally, I would say 99 of my clients, every age, when they say to me, oh, I've applied to like 100 things, I haven't heard back, no bites. I'm like, so tell me what you did to follow up. And it's silence.
Crickets.
Every
one
time.
knows how.
No one knows how.
And
Why?
it's honestly,
Why?
you know what? I don't know. We've talked about this 1,000 times. I think, I actually, if I'm going to go deep, okay? So I say two things. One, this is the most, and I have been working with this age group now for 20 something years. And then I was that age group, right? And I don't believe the inherent problems at hand are not different. Everything's the same. New York is still expensive and crazy. LA is still expensive and crazy. The cool, sexy jobs are still hard to get. It's still who you know. All of the things are the same. The difference is this generation is the most over-connected, under-networked generation. They have everything at their fingertips, but they were born with it. So they do not know how to use it. And it's not their fault.
It's not their fault.
So quintessentially, if you think about someone like me, who is on the border of, hey, elder millennial and that weird one, Zennial, and Jamie is an elder millennial, we were the last generation of
printing your resume and putting it in manila
putting it in manila folder, finding the people,
faxing it,
calling the numbers, looking in the yellow pages,
calling the front desk to
cover
follow up.
letter, faxing it, call the front desk,
Did you
talk
get
to the
it?
assistant, just want to make sure,
Yes.
just following up.
But you
just
had
this,
to in
just
order to
that.
make sure
like
they even
you were
got
showing
it.
up at
We
buildings.
didn't even have email.
No.
Yeah, no email.
An email, if you did have email, that doesn't mean the place that you wanted to work had email or you couldn't email them directly. And also you didn't have a cell phone all the time. So you had to make these phone calls from like the street in a payphone with a quarter. Like these are real
Did
things.
you get my fax?
Or you gave them your home number.
And then they called your mom and left a message on your home answering machine. Like these are real truths.
That was exact. And then you had to make sure your answering machine didn't have
Like
the
a weird,
stupid message that you had when you were in college and in high
Yes,
school.
yeah.
That was
With,
like
music.
or like I had Beastie Boys playing on my answering machine.
Or like me singing like a harmonized version of The Rose by Bette Midler with my two best friends. Some say love. And I'll never forget it. I was like, I think I should change this because I'm looking for a job now.
So I think because of those two things, culturally, they literally just don't know how to do it. And they're not in all, I mean, and our clients right now are graduating from or at schools that are all the schools you talk about.
Right.
Okay. And they are getting phenomenal educations. And I'm sure I have a 17-year-old. So like I'm literally living your life now. Like I'm in the chapter. Here I am. And one of the things I keep telling myself is that I want to remember my own words and voice of reason so that I don't get caught up in all of these things. But, you know, moral of the story is we are seeing students at all of these hot colleges that are coming to us not necessarily equipped. Now, there is a fine line between having a resume written because you did it in class, knowing there's a career center, and having a basic LinkedIn profile because your professor taught you how, versus knowing how to use it. The same way I know how to get into a car and buckle my seatbelt and turn on the ignition, but I don't necessarily know how to drive. So one of the things that I'm trying and Jamie's trying to do, one post at a time, one conversation at a time, one person at a time, is legitimately change the way people look for work. Because if we can get to people sooner, we can avoid a lot of unhappiness. Now, granted, a first job is going to last X amount of moments of joy, no different than it did for us.
Right.
But they'll have better habits to prepare on how to get to the next one. By the way, this also is a similar mindset with young entrepreneurs. Like I think about some of the people in the room that are off camera. There's a lot, hey, over there.
We're talking about you. Von Dutch hat.
But the
Speaking of
point is,
2001.
when you are a hustler and when you're a young entrepreneur, you need to know how to hustle.
Right. And network.
And it's not just about the posting online and your TikTok views, as much as I want those too. And Jamie and I want those also. There's so much about people connection, who to write to, why are you reaching out to them, what's your strategy, what are you saying, how do you remember what you said to who?
So here's the truth.
There's a lot of that in the college admissions process
I'm sure.
too. And one of the things that I do find that kids have such a hard time with, and one of the things that I work with them on, is follow up and reach out. They think they're just going to go on a tour and come home and wait and think, do I like this school? Did I like the school? Oh, I really did like the school. There were 17 things I really liked about the school. Let's write a thank you note now. To who?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? To just the admissions office? No, you have a regional representative who is going to be the person who's reading your application. We're going to write a thank you note to that person.
Yes.
And we are going to be very clear about what you liked about the school for you. I don't care that the campus is pretty. I don't care that they have a good study abroad program. I don't care about the location. That's all inner stuff for your whatever. Tell me about the really cool, interesting, niche-y major that they had that spoke to you. Some tradition that they have that you thought was super cool. Do you love the fact that the professors know everybody's name and specifics?
Yeah.
And then they give you a profile option, a portal option. You have like a box. If there's anything else you would like to add to your application, please do so here. And they still come to me and go,
What
am I supposed to do something here?
Yeah, and what do I write there?
Can I just send my grades? This is like a HR person at a company going, here's your space to give a speech about why you want to work here. And you going, it's okay.
It's okay.
I got this.
Yeah.
I'm good. You just look at my resume, I'm fine. And they just can't. That's the hustle.
Can't figure out how to do it.
So we know why. Because everything's been delivered to them at their hands.
Correct.
The Uber Eats, the this, the that, it comes straight to the door. Everything comes straight to the door. Now, the admissions process
Their life has been Amazoned.
Right. Their life has been just in a box delivered. Mm-hmm. How do you break them?
That's a great question. So one of the things that we find to be what we're trying to debunk is that often people will say, I'm going to try it on my own first. And then we'll come to you, okay? Mm-hmm. And we are trying to educate one client at a time, one conversation at a time. You do not have to look for work by yourself. And there are resources and people out there that will help you. Whether it's at your college, you have a career center person, you have now people like us. Whatever the case is, there are many people out there that can help you. You might get 5 minutes at dinner with your parents or with a spouse if you're an adult or with a group of girlfriends to like commiserate about career. But at the end of the day, we do this because we can help you do this. You don't have to do it by yourself. So one of the things I like to say all the time, there are many service businesses that are nice to haves. Like, oh, you have a little extra money. You might like go to get your hair professionally colored instead of like doing it in your sink, right? That's a nice to have. We go to a salon and get our hair done. But then there are many industries that are need to have. They're like non-negotiables-ish, right? You don't change your own oil in your car often. Like you don't clean your own teeth. You go to the dentist a couple of times a year. Like you can brush your teeth every day, but sometimes you got to go and get them professionally
I literally
scrubbed.
just imagined when you said that, I was thinking about professionally cleaning my own teeth.
Literally, could you imagine like professionally cleaning your own teeth?
Weird concept.
Yes.
Like literally. And so I give this analogy a lot to people. So when we're having our consultations with people, usually they've come to us frustrated already, right? They're already fed up with the process.
So when we meet
something's
people,
not working. Like they are
do
trying.
not meet happy people.
Yeah, never. And even when we were on the recruiting side, we never met happy people.
Worried,
panicked,
frustrated,
frustrated,
vulnerable, sad.
So if we can educate them before they feel that way.
Right.
That's the goal. But
That's
right
what
now,
we are trying to do.
Most of the time, people are coming to us like at the throw in the towel moment, right? They're like, this isn't working. My resume obviously sucks. Or like, I don't know. It is. It's therapy.
I consider ourselves professional huggers, professional therapists, but I also still think that we're transactional, right? So when you show up at the DreamCatchers door and you knock, you're coming to me ready. Like you're coming to me like, I need to get a job. This is what I want. We are not a hot air balloon. We are a partner. We are going to get this dream together and we are going to do the work together. I am not a service that's going to do it for you. The entire reason why doing the work yourself with somebody supporting you is how you get stronger. The same way you can't really use chat and AI to study because you still need to study yourself.
You still need to know how to disseminate the information.
I love Bestie Chat. I use Bestie Chat all the time, but I still check her work.
It's a tool. It's a tool.
So you still need to do it yourself. So what we try to do is empower people to do the work on their own with our support, help, direction, tutoring. So I think, we can use a million different words until we've changed the vernacular of vocabulary. Somewhere between a coach and a tutor and a mentor and a safe adult that's not a judgmental friend or
Not your
parent,
parent.
or somebody that's outside of school that's actually worked on the front lines in business. The one thing that I always hear collectively about career centers is, and I love a career center, you can get a lot done there, but they are out of touch because they've not ever, or they haven't worked within the industry.
They're students.
A lot of them are students.
And like, not for nothing, Jamie and I, like, when people ask us why us, like, at the end of the day, for 20 years, we were putting people to work at, you name it, whether it was LVMH or Marc Jacobs or CNN, or I put the first person to work in New York in the Facebook office. We supported SoulCycle indirectly. We helped grow the teams at Roberta Roller Rabbit Monkeys, Stony Clover Lane bags. Like,
Wow.
Sat on the floor when the Stony Clover Lane girls were like, I need to do this bigger than just the two of us. Like, we were there and knew how to get good people where they were going. So when I sit with a student and they're talking to me, I hear them.
Mm-hmm.
And what we try to do is get them on a track. So interestingly enough, right now, I would say we run the gamut. So like, I can almost feel whoever's listening to me starting to get panicked. Like, where are my other students? And I'm looking at you. We have students from Tulane. We have multiple students at Michigan. Yes, Michigan, go blue.
Go blue.
Yes, multiple from Michigan. Several from JMU. A couple from Auburn. We do have a ton from the SEC schools. We're going to talk about that in a second. Fordham, Villanova. So we're private, we're public, we're big, we're north, we're south, we're east, we're west. It doesn't matter because it doesn't matter. The truth is this should not be a stigma. Asking for help to do something should not be a stigma. And yes, we act as a professional hugger and helper. And like I said, we're somewhere between a therapist and a coach because we're actually neither of those two. Like, you're hiring us to help you get somewhere. If we feel, and this is also true, if we feel like a student or a client needs more than us, and we can feel that sometimes, we will refer out to an executive coach, or I will hop on with a parent and say, I think there's more going on here.
Right.
That is above and beyond what this is. And in all fairness, job search, and I do want to say this, and I'm not trying to be dark or negative, job search is extremely mentally grueling. And it can, for better or for worse, really affect someone's mental health. So we are passionate about mental health, and we believe that if we can get to this light, this feeling of not drowning, this is asphyxiation, if you will, that juniors and seniors have, they can at least be a kid for 2 more years, because guess what? Once they're not a kid, what are they?
Never a kid again.
Wah, wah.
Wah, wah.
Literally, our seniors, I'm like, just go enjoy your senior year.
They're like, what do you mean? Everybody's interviewing.
Everybody's
Everybody's
we have
going
a
to the thing.
sophomore. We're working with a sophomore right now at BC, and all of his friends have internships lined up for next summer.
2027 summer.
Okay,
It's
wild.
gross.
and he doesn't want to. And everything is starting younger now, right? It's like, even your work, you start younger. Everything is a hustle culture. Everything is on social media. You see it all. You feel it all. People are declaring their majors and posting through their high school. I mean, everything about that is bananas
my 8th
to me.
grader's on the tour this weekend at Miami, and she's like, okay, so what do I need to do? I'm like, you're in 8th grade.
Just be an 8th grader.
Just be an 8th grader.
But you mentioned hustle culture. I think that, and we were just talking about how the kids don't really know how to hustle. So I think a lot of it is this. They see the shell of the thing,
Yes.
right? They see the people getting up. Chloe Hector, who I just
Yes,
interviewed,
I
like
was gonna say,
the
like-
hustle on her end of becoming an influencer and doing all the things and the partnerships and the meetings and the interviews and the this and the that, building that career. But you only see the outside of that.
Yes.
The inside of that, and that's what we're talking about, is that they don't really know all
How
the
you get
follow-up,
into it.
all the relationships, all of the building that has to go into that. They just think, oh, I have to like run around and look good and, I'll get a job. I mean, so the meat of it is not quite there. So if let's go to the dark place.
Yep.
I've just graduated from X really fabulous, amazing, expensive, whatever it is, university. I've done all the things, the clubs, the this, the that. I had the internships, et cetera, et cetera. I'm now home living with my parents, sending resumes out all day. And there's a whole lot of crickets for months.
So Jamie,
And I come to you.
Jamie's going to answer, but I can even say the dark place starts at like a lower level dark. And I would say it's like January, February of senior year.
And that's when everybody starts doing the
To,
hustle and you're like,
the non-finance kids
uh-huh.
who are getting their jobs
Or
first
consulting.
semester, or the consulting kids, or the kids that know they're going straight to law school or med school. They're all set up.
They're
They
ready
know
to
what
go.
they're
Right.
doing. So the person that does not have that plan,
The noise gets
that-
very loud.
that mishigas, if you will,
Mhm.
that stress starts to burn by the time you're going that second semester of your senior year. Go for
I
it.
come to you.
Yeah. So our method is not rocket science, okay? But we created a 4-step method that we call the DreamCatcher method, and it is tried and true. And the pieces of it that matter most, I think, for a kid at that age
Mhm.
is all 4, because we find that we are dealing with people who are extremely reactive. That's what we said earlier. It's like, I'm applying, I'm sending 100 things, I've got no bites. And so what we start with is unpacking, okay, talk me through what it is that you've done so far. And so 99 times out of 100, it's I did my resume in class.
Mhm.
I had somebody look at it.
Great.
It's perfect. And I did my LinkedIn because I was told to in the way that my college prepared me to, because many of them do.
Great.
Where they have a nice clear picture and a nice cover image and they have it all populated and it's, quote, perfect to them.
Guidance counselor level.
Yep.
Just speaking on
Yep.
Alexis terms.
Yep.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's all buttoned up and they've been sending it and sending it and sending it and not getting any bites. That's usually the case. I can feel the nods because that's how most people feel. Okay.
When they're sending it,
Yep.
how are they finding out?
Usually they're
Is it all through LinkedIn or is
Usually
it?
it's through LinkedIn, Indeed, other job boards. Perhaps it's through their college. Sometimes there's like something called Handshake that a lot of companies
Familiar.
will use to post through the colleges. And they are then applying to those jobs as one should and one would. Right?
And that's their job. They
And
should be
that is
doing
their
that.
job to do, right? Starting probably January-ish, they're starting to feel the burn and they're doing that. And usually when they come to us, we have to have a pretty difficult conversation during step 1. So step 1 is what we call dream intuition. Marissa normally runs that. It's a gut check. It's like, what do you even want to do? Where do you want to work? What's the salary need to be? What's realistic? All of those kind of gut intuition questions.
And by the way, those conversations, although it's the same, similar to you,
Very.
it's very different for each individual. So
Right.
each individual, like for instance, if you're going to school at Old Miss, do you want to stay in Birmingham in Alabama? Or do you want to go to New York or Philly or Boston or LA or Chicago or Miami?
So yeah, these are like
These
the
are
hard questions. Like
questions.
we're working with somebody at Rice right now and somebody at UT, and it's like, do you want to live down there? Do you want to move back? So let's talk those things through. So we end up talking those things through. We do a similar to what Mary Beth taught me many years ago. What are your 3 pride stories? We call it the superpower worksheet. We've been using it for years. We do an exercise with them to kind of get some of those answers for ourselves. Oftentimes, a lot of those answers that they give us, once we look at their resume, are not on the resume.
Interesting.
Okay. So things they're most proud of, things they want, things they feel that make them tick, who they were when they were a kid, what their dream job really has been erased
Yes.
because they were told they didn't have space or, oh, that was so long ago, so I took that stuff off. Okay. So we debunk a
They
lot of those
take-
myths.
A lot of these traditional resources take away the dreamer.
They take away the parts of them that are actually make them them. Okay. So what we try to re-educate and re-empower is your resume should be a reflection of the things that you've done and the places that you've worked, but also who you are. And that's a really hard thing for people to put together.
Yeah.
And so there's several ways that we do it, but essentially, like, for example, I mentioned
And also
this.
it has to be AI and applicant tracking system friendly and buzzword friendly and not get lost in job boards and look a certain way.
Right.
Which we also know how
So
to
a
do.
lot of the times they'll come to us with a resume that is fairly good. Okay, so for example, I have many examples that I can say for this, but there's 2 things in particular that I want to say about the resume because that's step 2. We do dream resume, which is my step. I do it all the time. Usually I run it alone. Marissa's there with me some of the time, but I could do it with my eyes closed. It's my jam. The resume is the most important thing that you have, okay, when it comes to job search. It still is. It still is
It's your
important.
calling card.
That's one thing that hasn't changed.
It has not
Nothing.
changed. The resume still matters. It's just changed who's looking at it and how it's being fed through the gatekeeper. So the applicant tracking system, which is the internal portal or database through LinkedIn, through their company websites that is reading the resume first. Your resume has to be able to pass through, okay? So you have to meet the minimum requirements. What does that mean? If you need to know Excel for the job, the word Excel
Has to be there.
has to be there. These are like really small things that you'd be surprised. People are like, oh, well, it says Microsoft Office. Like they know what that means. They do not. A computer does not know that Microsoft Office might include Excel.
You can't assume.
With
See what happens
AI,
when you assume.
yeah,
So PowerPoint, Excel,
yes,
breaking it
all
all
your
out.
skills,
Google Sheets, Google
everything
Slide,
listed
everything
out.
has to be listed.
List it out. And if
Also, by the way, this generation is so used to knowing everything, they don't think to list it out.
they're like, oh, like obviously
like
I
I'm
know.
proficient in Canva.
Yeah, but if it's in their job description, it likely will be something the
That they
applicant
look for.
tracking system or AI is looking for. It must be there. Even if you're 10, 20, 30 years into your career, okay? This is important. That's not non-negotiable is the keywords. However, the piece that's usually missing is the stuff that makes them, as I mentioned. So like, I said this off camera, but I grew up wanting to be a professional dancer. My dream job was to be a backup dancer for Janet Jackson,
And Justin.
then Justin Timberlake and Britney
Sounds-
Spears.
Amazing.
That was my dream job. My dad helped me debunk it, but I ended up always dancing through college. I was a dance minor and I choreographed on the side. I still dance to this day, but I did not obviously make a career out of it. However, if I were applying today to a job at, I don't know, the Nederlander organization, which by the way, I did apply there years ago, a big, theater company in New York City. And obviously they were looking for an HR person, fine, and that's my job description, and those are the things I've done, and here are all my keywords. Do you think it's important to them that I grew up as a dancer?
Yes,
And if I deleted that
1,000%.
because it was so long ago, they wouldn't know that about me.
absolutely.
And the amount of people that take it off because it was in the past or it's no longer relevant is pretty much 100% of our clientele.
150% of our clientele.
Like if you were a camp counselor, I say this because this is a lot of our audience, right?
Right.
If you were a lifeguard, you were a waitress, these are the things that you've done. These are what makes you you. Why are we taking that off?
And those are critical soft
Critical
skills.
soft skills.
What do I
Like
know?
those are the
if
things
you were a
AI
waitress
cannot
all the
wait
way
at
through?
tables.
Yes.
What do I know about you if you're a Division I athlete?
I mean, commitment, determination, discipline, time management,
All of
and
that.
especially, I mean, waiting tables is like that
Customer
to me
service,
is
client
should be
relations,
a
time
baseline.
management.
Every kid should
Yes.
have.
Every kid.
should have. Be lucky enough to have that life experience.
100% agree. And so we basically, the resume, session ends up being this eye-opening conversation a lot of the times with these kids, like you said, that their resume they thought was fine, that they've been sending out, is actually needs some work. So we do that. Then we move into LinkedIn. Okay. So the LinkedIn definitely becomes, in our opinion, the most important part. There's 2 steps of the LinkedIn process with us. The first is called Dream Profile.
I love how I'm listening.
We redo the profile.
I'm very engaged.
Aren't you captivated?
I'm very
Captivating.
I've
So-
never heard this before.
Right. We redo the profile. It's not always about the content. It's about the formatting sometimes, the about section, the tagline. Okay. So when you go on LinkedIn, you see your beautiful headshot and your cover image of your beautiful university, diag for me at Michigan. I have, cool picture of me in my like cap and gown, whatever it is. And underneath my name, it says student at the University of Michigan, because LinkedIn will automatically populate your most recent thing. Okay. We teach them that you can rebrand yourself as a tagline. There's a lot of different ways you can do that. We help you figure out a way to make you sound,
Marketing communications major graduating in 2027.
with experience in blah, blah, and blah. And so that all
Social
comes up in
junior
your,
social media strategist.
that all comes up in a search. It's all under your picture. It's a strategy. Okay. Everything you feed LinkedIn is a strategy. So the algorithm of LinkedIn will automatically prioritize somebody that's more populated. Okay.
Pause. Here's a quick thing for Alexis, who's not somebody that has to use LinkedIn all the time. If you open LinkedIn on your phone and you pull up my profile or your student's profile,
That's the
what
first
will
thing
you
they
see?
That's the first thing they see, especially on a mobile device.
Your headshot.
It's that
the
top
thing,
thing.
top-
And then
their
you have to like
name.
scroll or
Yes.
dig.
So
Or
you're giving
pass.
somebody that high level
Quickie.
look at who you are in a glance.
And then the next thing that a lot of our clients I've found don't have is an about section. It's a little summary of what they're looking for. That's something we help them write. It's not easy for many to like encapsulate what it is that they want to say.
That is so hard. It's the personal statement.
Personal
Yes.
statement.
And it's so hard.
So hard. So often,
And how do you make it unique, and how do you make it professional? And by the way, also everybody listening, of course we like using Bestie Chat. I said this before. I love Bestie. The problem is it can't sound just like chat. It has to be your voice.
Right.
So you need to go through the proper protocol of writing something, using chat, undoing that, and making sure it flows. Now, the reason why we do all of this work is to set you up for the magic, the special sauce.
which is our fourth
called
step.
our fourth step, and what we build the whole rest of our professional therapy, if you will, or strategy or career job search strategy sessions with our student. And that is our Dream Network.
Dream Network is based on building your own personal network, okay? We call it the Dream Crush Project. We have been doing it since the beginning of time with even our clients when they were coming in back when we were recruiters. At the time, we called them candidates. Now they're clients. But regardless, it is where do you want to work and what do you want to do, right? And where are you sending it? It's no different than making your list with you, right? So oftentimes, again, we are looking reactively, right? We are on LinkedIn to see jobs that are posted, and that becomes our list. Why? So we try to flip it on its head, especially if we start with them younger. One of our favorite mantras is network the most
When you need it the least.
when you need it the least.
Yeah.
Meaning, you're a junior, you're beginning of junior year, you haven't yet figured out your summer internship, whatever the case is. What are the companies? What are the dream jobs? Okay. There are brands that you know, small brands, big brands, it doesn't matter. Let's make a list. Okay. So we start with the list. And of course, we'll go on their website and see if they're hiring. Of course, that's step one. Most people would do that. We all did that, right? But if they're not hiring, what do you do? So oftentimes people move off. So my favorite example.
There's nothing.
Oh, there's nothing.
There's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have anything for me right now. So they move off. So this is where it comes back to your work that I think is a really important correlation. Where you went to school, where you go to school is your first network.
So smart.
And if you are not leaning on that, you are failing yourself. Done, the end.
Because
okay?
everybody that chose that
chose it for a
chose
reason.
the same thing.
And all of these big public state schools,
they love each other.
their network is huge.
Enormous. And like, where do you even start? So when you are on LinkedIn, okay, as a Michigan grad, I go on LinkedIn and I'm looking someone up. And the reason we got good at this, by the way, I have to say this because it's important. This is not a skill most people know how to do. This is a sales 101
Yes,
skill.
this is sales.
You put together a sales sheet, which is your Dream Crush project, and now the product is you. And your collateral material is your resume and your LinkedIn. Now where are you going to sell it?
Right.
how
And then
do you
what's your
differentiate
reach?
yourself?
I'm dying to work at Glossier. Okay. And what are the other companies that you know that could be like a Glossier? There might be a marketing agency that supports Glossier, but you wouldn't really know it. So my reach is Michigan, but my safety is
Right.
Indiana.
Right.
And
Wisconsin.
by the way,
Yeah.
yes, and
Same.
LinkedIn,
It's the dupes.
Yes.
And the
And people get mad
right.
at me when I say that,
No,
but
but
I'm like,
it's the truth.
we all want to stay at the Four Seasons, okay?
Right, but
maybe we
sometimes
can't
life
afford
doesn't
it.
bring you the Four
What
Seasons.
other hotel is just as lovely and clean and has good service?
Or maybe
Let's
you just want some. Maybe you'd actually be a person that would do better in a boutique hotel. Not everybody wants to work in a big firm.
Totally.
And the thing is, the algorithm of LinkedIn, and we are not sponsored by LinkedIn, and I love LinkedIn. I might as well work there because I talk about it so much, is it gifts it to you in ways that a lot of students don't know how to use. So if you look up Glossier and you start following Glossier, no different than when you watch a great show on Netflix, Netflix recommends other shows that are similar. So next thing you know, you're on Glossier and then there's 15 other brands that are like Glossier or work with Glossier, whatever. So all that to say, we start building the list based on that. So if your crush is Glossier, we show you how to follow Glossier, what to do when you follow them, how to connect with them on LinkedIn, etc. And then it shows you, say, 6 more brands that are like Glossier. Now they're on your list, okay? So now your list went from 1 to 10 in 5 minutes.
What
So
happens
now
with the
what?
University of Michigan piece?
Exactly. So you look, for example, on Glossier's page. When you click on Glossier as a company, the first thing you see, if you are properly parsed, which is the LinkedIn word for where you went to school and where you worked, which is an important part because oftentimes if you see on LinkedIn, you'll often see like a little gray circle with 2 office buildings, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That means that either the company does not have a LinkedIn page to
Very
connect
rare.
to, which is rare, or you're not properly parsed to that page. So say, for example, you went to University of Michigan School of Literature, Science, and the Arts, which is what I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to write that into my LinkedIn, and that page doesn't exist for whatever the reason, because it's actually called like LSA.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't properly connect me to the University of Michigan, which would be a problem for the next step. So when we're on LinkedIn, we make sure your page is properly parsed to the right places, which is a very easy fix. It's like an auto population that pops up. If you're not doing that, you are no longer connected.
So they're not going to find you.
Correct.
Right.
And
They
you may
can't-
not
you can't
find
see
them.
it.
And a Michigan alum who might work at Glossier.
May not see at a glance that you also went
Right.
to
And
Michigan.
if you, by the way, are a good recruiter or a good hiring manager, I mean, through my years, if anyone came to me in my office and you graduated from Richmond, I know you're a 10 out of 10.
Right.
I don't even need to talk to you.
That's right, because you know the type of kid you're dealing
Yes.
with. So you go on Glossier's page, and it says 4 students from the University of Michigan have been hired here. It's the first thing that it says, with a little M next to it. Okay? So what's my first step? I click on those people, and I see who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I write to them.
By the way, for the record, for anyone listening and for your education, I would say by this part of the conversation, only 60% of people have done this.
Not
Wow.
even. I would say half.
Yeah. There are a lot of people that are like, whoa, I didn't even realize I should look at it
So
this way.
oftentimes people will say you have to know someone. And my advice, if I'm going to say you have to know someone, it does not need to be your like dad's golf buddy's daughter that works at Glossier. You know them because they went to Michigan too.
You don't have to know someone
You don't have to know
necessarily.
them.
You have to find
You have to
someone.
find someone
Yes.
that you could say
And-
you know.
that you have
And-
that commonality with.
Yes.
And then, by the way, so the next magic or the special sauce is how do you then manage finding the people?
Writing
And
to
then
them,
also
organizing
the
them.
waiting.
Mhm.
And then also when the 10, 20 people that you found were quiet and didn't respond.
And how do you
Now
follow
what?
up without being a stalker,
Yes.
Correct.
respectively?
Or how
And
do you
what
find
do you
some, maybe
say?
you find someone different. Like, and often I'll say to people, it doesn't need to be the recruiter or the hiring manager that
It
you
could-
write to. It
and-
can be like another assistant that's
Or
a
we
couple
start
years
looking
older than
where
you.
you're from, or us. By the way, a lot of camps. By the way, a lot of sleepaway camps have pages. How fun is that for networking? Also, you can talk about like where you worked as your internship. You can see that one person that was super nice to you,
Right.
and where they're working now. All of a sudden, you don't realize a student, actually any job seeker that was not using this platform correctly beforehand, does not realize their own professional value until they do this work. The key ingredient here is doing the work changes the person's energy.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where my woo-woo comes in.
Well, they're putting themselves out there.
Yes,
It's like
the job search is a lot of woo-woo, no different than a baseball slump. When you're doing more, you're attracting more. Your energy is up, your vibration is up. I always say to anybody that calls me on that very first day, I'm like, you did something good for yourself today. That's it. Today's a good day. You thought about this because we're an accountability partner. This is a lot of work. Looking for a job is a full-time job. Why would somebody want to invest in this process or this service for their student? Because you don't want your student trying to do all this alone, freaking out, drowning in stress.
it's so interesting to see how like my version is the 1.0, like the
Yes.
starter project of that, which is when I start working with a client who thinks that they have a list. They think that they know who they are.
Exactly.
And I go, I mean, I had a client recently who I've talked about now several times, which is a kid who's really, really smart, really dynamic, adorable, all the things. Like a kid you would want to hire, but he's in he's a junior in high school, let's say. And a parent says, well, he has a 4.3 and he has a 1520 SAT score. Why aren't we applying to the Ivies? Because your kid, when I dug deep, said to me, I want an urban campus. I want urban energy. I want NYU is my dream school. And then what are the others? Well, then we can go to BU and we can go to GW and we can go to Northeastern. And that is what he wants. But the client is saying to me, but what about Yale?
Yeah.
And I'm like, he doesn't want to go to Yale.
Right.
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 You are, just because you have these certain things on paper, you are this, you are that, you are this, you want that, does not mean that that's where you're going to fit in or what you want. So
Right,
I have to
because
like
we have to, like,
recalibrate them. I have
Yep,
to undo their
Yes, the
perspective.
patterns.
Or,
Meanwhile, I'm like, what about UT Austin? Like, I'm like, let me help
You're
you.
not getting into UTI. Or the kid they think they want big rah-rah. I watch football every weekend with my dad.
Ugh.
I go to the game. I love this. And I go, you have an IEP or a 504.
This is such an important conversation.
You need
a smaller class
accommodations.
size. Yes.
You need a Richmond. You need, if you're higher performing, by the way.
Yeah.
You need accountability management. You need somebody you're going to walk into the classroom and a professor's going to go, hi, Jamie. So good to see you. Not a TA, not a class with 500 people. You need a place where
super
people,
real.
You need the cheers of schools, which isn't going to resonate with any of the kids, but you guys, parents all know. The place where everybody knows who you are. And then they go, I do, but I like this. And I'm like, well, Syracuse can be the cheers if you want it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a tight, warm, cozy community that has
warm in quotes.
Yeah, warm.
Not quite warm.
Yeah.
But yes,
that has cozy energy
Yes.
in that way. Anyway, it's just kind of amazing, not kind of amazing, but it is amazing to see how they can go through that process, find the school. Let's assume the school was the right place for them. They figured out who they are and all the things, and then they get the resume out and it's like a flat, sad balloon.
Yes.
Yep.
And then you guys have to just
Right, because now they've done all of this and they've gotten to this good spot.
Mm-hmm.
So I've done it. It's
like,
good.
by
And
the
the
way-
parents are like, I'm good. Like, you
I
guys
just spent
$1 million. You go do you.
And that's a lot of the things. Like the parent, by the way, our generation of parent, for better or for worse, we've been carrying these kids. We've made a lot of mistakes as a culture. We're all guilty of it. It wasn't our fault. The phones were in our hand. We micromanaged. There was no going to my friend's house for, the way we all grew up.
Like I'll be back.
I know where my
I'll
kid
be
is at
back
all
when it's
times.
dark, type of thing.
Right.
Like
they don't. It's not their fault.
they have no.
They have
grit.
They don't have the grit. They don't have the self
Because they never needed it.
So here they go out into this world. Like for instance, our 3 clients right now, and I love them, and they're brilliant kids. Were so betrayed by not having a job yet, and they're at Michigan. Like they're at Michigan. Like they're the Michigan kids.
They're the
ones.
the apex of all the things,
And they are not working. And like in all fairness, so for me, granted, she takes that like more personally. I take it personally.
Don't worry, I
as,
wouldn't
like,
get in anymore, so it's all good.
it's fine. Go blue. So
Go blue forever, though.
The point is I'm sitting there. I'm like, I get it. You did all this work. Like it should feel easier, but it's not.
It's not easy.
in college admissions. I was talking about this yesterday. It's like the betrayal of, but I have that, but I did all the APs.
so does
and all the
everyone
things,
else.
and
It's
the
not
A's,
personal.
and, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to, and then name safety school down at number 27 on the list. But I also think that part of that disappointment and part of that betrayal and part of that anxiety is part of the thing. And you have to use that, speaking of
Motivate
energy, you have to turn it around.
Yes.
Yes.
That anxiety should give you energy
Well, I mean,
to
how many
do the
people-
4 steps, because those 4 steps are a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. So we always say, listen, we're a service. Can you do this by yourself?
Can you work out by yourself? Sure.
I use exercise as an analogy all the time. You can go to the gym, get on the elliptical, self-motivate. But in today's climate, most people are going to a class and following along
Or
on
a
routine,
trainer or
or
whatever.
a personal trainer
Uh-huh.
to tell them what to do and how to do it for their body type, right?
I know I'm supposed
However-
to eat chia seeds, but I like it when you give me a recipe.
Yeah.
I also like it when you give me a chocolate chip cookie.
Yeah,
Same.
that's exactly right.
But the in between, I always say, look, you can pay the personal trainer. That's just fine. But if you are eating like shit, not moving, doing all the wrong things every single day in
all
between,
the same
you
things.
are going to see 0 results.
I literally
So-
say the same. I'm like, I can set you up for success. We do these calls with them. We give them their homework. They still need to like go home and not eat the cheese doodles.
And do
Which,
they,
by the way, I love a cheese doodle. So
Same.
I'm,
So,
like
like,
crunchy one though.
do they go on the Jamie and Marissa diet? Can they do it?
they absolutely can.
Are they
do it.
ready
Honestly,
to at that
they
point
do.
when
Yes,
they come
they
to
do.
you?
They're
They do.
ready.
When they come to us, they are ready. And that's something that's so interesting. And I think this is a very good segue. I had a beautiful conversation with a parent. So that's another thing. Like sometimes we work with the student and we don't involve the parent. Sometimes we work with the parent and we have to be secret about it. And then we involve the student. Sometimes we're like, there's a
On a Zoom with both.
There is a degree of
The
therapy.
parents are paying for it,
Yes.
presumably.
Most of the time.
Sometimes the student's paying for it themselves. Like there's a degree of therapy and empathy that we have to have every single time we're on the phone.
Yep.
Every single time.
Yep.
You never know what we're dealing with.
Mhm.
Okay. And I think because we were recruiters for so many years, or because we're both a little bit intuitive and very empathetic, we just are naturally okay with any situation that's thrown our way. There is nothing I haven't heard or experienced before.
That is-
on the end.
I call it's triage.
Yes.
We
Like,
are all ER docs. That's
I
what
ER
it is.
docs. That's right.
I've had people cry. I can't even. So, and I'm okay. I'm a stronger counselor because of it. But, this week I had a touch base with a second semester senior's dad. And the truth was he wanted to make sure that his daughter was doing the things. And
Okay.
also, all fair, because it's a service and he wants to make sure she's doing it. But he also needed to be reassured. Because here's something I can say for everybody. If you are a second semester senior and you want to work in marketing or communications or advertising or social media or PR, the chances of you having a job before May are 0. Shall I say it again? You are
Wow.
coming out of this school. This is the same in 1995, 1999, 2005, 2026. If you are a second semester senior and you want to work in a creative field, the chances of you having a job offer in a dream job opportunity place before graduation is 0.
0.
It's like borderline impossible unless for some reason there's a hiring program, you had an internship, there's
Or
from
you have
last
some
summer,
wild connection.
sort of
Yes,
Yeah, random
there's
thing.
some things that can align, but very, very rare. I'd say maybe 5%.
very rare.
Okay.
So I like to say 0 because
it's pretty low.
It's pretty 0.
There are 3 reasons a job is even open at a company. I normally quiz my clients on this. So if you're listening, you will know the answer if we end up working together. There's 3 reasons a job is open at a company, not posted, open. Somebody left,
Mhm.
okay? Meaning they got fired or they resigned. So now there's an open job.
Okay.
Somebody got promoted and they're trying to backfill that person's job.
Mhm.
Or somebody, they're trying to grow, right? They want a new piece of business and it's a new job headcount, okay? That third one, they can wait a little longer because they've never had a person in that job, okay?
And they're trying to find the right,
The first 2 are replacements, okay? If somebody resigned today on my team, okay? I have an opening on my team.
It's February, whatever.
It's February 12th.
This is an evergreen conversation.
I'm going to ask you hypothetically, you know the answer. Can I wait till June to fill that job?
Absolutely not.
I need somebody to start tomorrow, right?
And it may very well be somebody who already works for you. I mean, that's
Correct.
the other.
So if we are seeing a job posted today on
Mhm.
February 12th, and I am a senior at Auburn or Villanova or Fordham or any of our clients, and I apply, the hiring manager likely will laugh, is the truth, right?
not laugh at you, but like laugh.
They're like,
Oh,
you're
okay.
so cute. We can't wait
can't
6
wait-
months
we
for you.
can't wait.
Thank you so much.
Person emailing us on their break.
But what we would tell you to do is apply anyway, follow up and say, hey, I know you probably can't wait till I graduate. I can't really start till June 1st, but wanted to reach out anyway. There are strategies to work around it to
Right.
make that relationship happen for you now. But likely, most of the time, they cannot wait for you.
Yeah, and the answer is that doesn't mean that these students should be doing nothing. They should be doing all of these
Right.
things,
So
but
the
not
act
taking
of-
in the fact that they're not necessarily going to get anywhere between. This is where the waiting that you prepared them for
Mhm.
comes back in.
They have to be ready.
They have to be
sit
ready
tight.
and perhaps
They have to be
And-
ready
and
to
start.
sit tight.
and
immediately.
starting, but the starting is not the applications. The starting is the networking.
And
And
so-
that's the piece that we
And
debunk.
here's what also happens come graduation. Oh, I want to go away with my friends for 2 weeks. Oh, it's grandpa's 80th. Oh, we're going to go to Europe.
This
and it's-
is a this generation
Yes, and-
situation.
and
They
they
don't
don't
actually start
realize-
working till July 1st.
And then also where the parent comes in here, and this is another thing I want to say. And, this gentleman, he was extremely amazing on the phone. They don't live in the New York City tri-state area. They live in a different place, and they're trusting me, and I'm honored and privileged. I said to him the same thing I've said now for 25 years. New York City or any major metropolitan area plays a silent character in your child's narrative, a very strong character, a positive, a hero, and also the dark force. I cannot tell you that your child will have a job in time to split with that person that has the apartment already or the roommate already, and or if they're going to be able to afford it? The answer is prepare for no. And this is something that's been going on for a very long time. So the education that's emotional that I would like to say, it's all obviously subjected to each family, is to prepare, if you can, that time is going to be another extended, difficult time in which your child most likely will not have an income, but someone like us would be encouraging them to, hey, work at Barry's boot camp or do
Get
something
a
else
job.
so that
Get
you're
a job.
getting
In
some
the
sort
meantime.
of job while we're looking for a job. Also,
And
Jamie
we will
and I are
make your
working.
resume look good no matter what.
You stay tuned to the DreamCatchers, because the next stuff you're going to see is us talking about what you do during those first few years, because that's another thing that happens, after they first get the job. That's another part of the transition. But the monetary investment and the rent and the controlling where they're going to live and all that stuff, we can't control it.
But
It
we
is-
can plan.
It's a
right?
lack
We can't
of
control,
control,
but we can
You
plan.
can plan and prepare.
And I feel like as a family, you need to have a plan.
And if your bar is low, and as a family, you know what's happening, whether if you're close to home, like a child's living at home for a few months or a year, not
Or
usually
10.
what people want to hear, or like, and also a lot of these things, there's insurance and people
I lived at
understand
home.
insurance.
By the way, I lived at home, but then I lived on Marissa's couch in her studio apartment that should have been converted to a 2-bedroom, but we couldn't afford to put up the wall. So I lived on a couch in her living room with like this kind of screen behind me.
exactly.
And I used to have to shout out, "I'm changing!" Like when her boyfriend was over, who's now my brother-in-law.
That's New York.
Yeah. That's New
And
York.
that's
It's
part
part
of
of the charm.
That's part of the discomfort. That's part of the moving through. That's
You
part of
have-
the
It's
grit.
no different than getting your roommate freshman year.
You have to
I
be
don't care if it's
comfortable
random or
with
not.
the uncomfortable.
Yeah.
My parents said to me, everybody was being recruited at UCLA like senior year, and I didn't know what the hell I was going to do with my life.
By the way, same.
So confused. I was like, I was going to go into acting. I was going to be a writer. I was going to do this. I had a million different things. My parents were like, that's all fine. You do you. Here's the rule. You can live here till you're 49. We don't care. We love you. You're an only child. We want to hang out with you. It's all good stuff. And you want to be in LA. You have to pay all of your ancillary bills by November. Car payment, cell phone payment, insurance payment, blah, blah, blah. We will take care of none of your bills by that point. You can, rent is covered, food is covered. You got this.
We had it easy because we didn't have to pay for workout sets and Starbucks and matchas.
And Stanley Cups
Yes.
and every Aritzia
And all
and
the things that they
aloe
want.
set.
Yes.
So that, necessity is the mother of invention. And the fact
Yep.
that I was able to go, okay, I have a safety net. Good news. I have a place to live. I don't need a roommate. But I gotta figure out how I'm gonna pay my bills.
Yeah.
And get a job.
Any job.
Work at Starbucks if you're lucky. Or any of these places. Like I get Chloe Hector comes to my mind because she worked at Love Shack Fancy.
Yep.
She was like, I
By
had
the
no
way,
idea
they
what I was
take care
doing.
of their girls.
Yep.
Totally. So get a job, and I think that a job begets a job begets a job. Money
When-
begets money.
when
It's like
you- it's true.
when your
When you-
baby
when
is
you are
sleeping,
working-
they used to say like sleep begets sleep.
Yes.
The more they
It's
sleep, the better they
easier-
sleep.
We've all heard this sentence before, but we say it every day. It is easier to find a job when you have a job.
Yes.
It's just the energy. It changes.
And if you're
the
working with
energy.
us, we're prioritizing your time. So if you are
Working elsewhere.
this does not need to feel like a noose.
And by the way, if you are working, and oftentimes people say to me, it's so much easier to look for work when I'm not working. Fine. But
no.
here's the truth. Most people that are looking for work are working. So if you have to interview before work, at lunch, after work,
They're already ready
that
to go.
works for them.
that works
Yeah.
for most hiring managers. And the truth is, working anywhere, Barry's Boot Camp, Starbucks, SoulCycle Front Desk, anywhere, the yoga studio on your corner, it's resume building, but also what it does is it puts you in a routine. You're getting up, you're getting dressed, you're getting out of your house, you're working, you're interacting with other people, because what starts to happen when you're living at home and you're not doing anything, it affects your mental wellness,
Yes.
which is something that we see all the time.
Very depressing.
True.
It is November, it is
Uh-huh.
December,
And by the way, the
they're not
reason why this
working.
conversation is so meaty is because as we're talking about all this good stuff, there's an underlying current that we all know, the three of us here, and anyone listening, that it can get really icky really fast.
Yep.
it's a quicksand moment. So, you know, we like to see people working. We like to see them out there. We like to see them
And then we
freelancing and all
figure
that
out
stuff.
where to put it on their resume, because often people think that it needs to go on top because it's the most recent, but there are ways to reflect it as other relevant experience and not take away from what it is that you want. And so one of the parts that we work on with a resume is figuring out where it goes. So a lot of times we'll be like, I don't want to work at like the front desk at the
Or I don't
yoga
want to
studio
do all this all over
because it has
again.
nothing to do with what I want to do.
And how many times will there be somebody that looks at the resume and go, I go to that yoga studio.
That's
Oh my God.
exactly it.
That's the thing. I mean, that's the catch. And a lot of times when I have students who are working on their, let's say their essays, and they want to do something really cliche, like they're the soccer player and they want to write the soccer essay. And I go, I'm sorry, wait, you just told me that you're a part-time assistant manager at the local Bob Evans. Like I had a kid Indiana who's going to Notre Dame. I go, this is when I started working with them. I go, that's the essay you need to write.
Yeah, that's the cool
You
thing
have like
about
a
you.
real job, not just. And he goes, well, I mean, it's just no. This is really good stuff. Not that a college admissions person is going to read it and go, I love that Bob Evans, but that shows a level
you
of
are.
discipline
Right. Yes.
and mindfulness and customer service, and he crushed it.
By the way,
Yep.
to
And
that point,
he got in.
everybody's a soccer
got in.
player these days.
There's
Right.
nothing that's baseline.
Tell me something I don't know.
Yeah,
Correct.
tell me something I don't know about
And
you.
tell me that you're working at like I've had kids who had jobs for 2 years. They care about that? I'm like, of course. They
we
do
have the
care
exact
that you
same
work at
conversations.
mixology.
Yes.
That is cool.
Yes.
I love mixology.
I
Where's
love
my
mixology.
discount?
You know how many people are like, I love shopping there, or oh my God, you must have worked with my daughter, or oh my God. And then all of a sudden, that's the networking.
This
the
is literally
constant
what we
movement.
say to somebody every single day. People will say to me, I took it off because I think it's irrelevant. And I will look back at them and say, how do you know what's relevant to someone else? You don't.
You never know when you're going to
So you
strike that
never
chord
know
with
that
somebody.
person's going to think that thing is cool about you. My favorite example is my husband's working in kids entertainment, kids toys his whole career. His first job out of school, besides working in payroll, he worked at SNL, okay? A million years ago, he used to take it off. He would put it as one bullet, blah, blah, blah.
Awesome.
He recently had an interview last year. He was unemployed for a while, shoemaker shoes. We helped him get back on his feet, and he is killing it and crushing it, and he's so happy. But during his interview process, the amount of people that asked him, not about, tell me about all your years at Nickelodeon and all the toys that you made there and all the things you worked on SpongeBob. It's like, oh my God, you worked at SNL when Jimmy Fallon was there. Did you ever meet him? And that's what they ended up bonding over, was a
Right.
love for SNL.
If
right?
people are human.
And they just want to talk about the cool things. And sometimes the stuff from 25 years ago on your resume is actually the most relevant to someone. And if you don't
Yeah.
include it, you can't talk about it. And that's exactly like your essay. It's like the Bob Evans story. That's cooler than your soccer
Nobody would
story.
know. That's way, way, way cooler. And actually, I do want to kind of talk a little, because as far as resume building and things that are cool and all that stuff, Marissa, you are in the thick. You have a 17-year-old.
Admit it.
So you are, you admit it.
I'm in the deep end. Swamp.
But as far as, okay, so when you go on a tour and you've got all these things in your head, you're thinking about like my kids, you're thinking about her resume probably. Fast forward, you're going 5
matters.
years from now,
Yep.
and you're thinking about exactly what we're talking
I
about.
am the definition of disaster on like speed when I walk into these tours, because I have all of this wisdom, but yet I'm trying to stay extremely present.
Are you
right?
thinking about where Sienna is going to like work in the town? Like, are you like, okay, we're in Miami. So in Coral Gables, she can work the front desk at this thing. She can do that thing.
1000%.
She's like this thing. And she can, so you're thinking, your mind is going at warped speed. So now I'm going to kind of transition to the admit it section, because I feel like I need to know this. It's juicy. Admit it. What is the most annoying question that you ask on a tour? Because I feel like
Okay.
this is a regular occurrence.
First of all, the tour guide that I just had this weekend was like a 30 out of 10. Best tour guide ever. And I loved him. And he had a great personality. And he really packed a punch. We were at University of Miami. And, you know, people raise their raise their hands. They have their questions. And I'm sitting there like, oh, they're going to ask about because Miami with the apartments, Alex Earl effect, blah, blah, blah. Everybody has the questions about.
Alex Earls from Monmouth County.
Yeah, Alex Earl's actually from our town.
From our town.
Hey, Alex. Are you? What was going on with Tom Brady? Okay. Anyway, point was, she started this whole thing. So everybody's talking about the new buildings. Everyone's talking about whether or not kids are going to be able to live off campus. Everybody's talking about like they have this really cool thing, this cognate system where you can like apply in and like stuff in your major right away, which I love. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, is anyone going to ask the good questions? Are we ready? And Sienna is starting to like inch down in her chair. And I'm like, here I go. And they're a family of 4. So my husband is going down in his chair. My daughter, my 8th grader, is like, oh my God, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I raised my hand. I said, so hey, what's the percent? What is it? I'm like, what's the return on this investment? It's like $900,000 to go to this school. I'm like, what is everyone using for career placement? Who is going to the career center? Who is getting their internships? What people are getting their jobs out of here? What is your place? And he's just like, so I have this stat. I don't have that stat. Like I felt bad because his presentation was flawless. And then I was like the one that was,
Like, so what is the return here?
So here's
Where do they
the thing.
land?
Our kids are going to be fine.
Yes.
They're going to end up where they're going to go, right? That's the whole thing. The story is written, but you have to do the work. And the truth is you have to be able to get to the thing. So like you choose a school that is better for you or more suited for you, or the school chooses you and it doesn't have Greek life, and oopsie daisy, you don't get to be in a sorority. Okay, so your culture is going to be more clubs like Providence. Or, some of the schools that don't have as much Greek. Like I think Fordham doesn't have Greek. So my point is some of these schools you don't have Greek, or you have Greek, or this or that. I don't care. I want to know how you're getting out. What are you doing with yourself? Do they feel comfortable talking to their professors? Do their professors have connections? Do they have internship and career advice? Where are they going? What kind of percentages of recruitment is happening there? Do they have career fairs? Do the students go to them?
But also, I just want to tap on that for a second, what you just said about Greek. Remember, though, when you're doing all of those things on campus to enrich your experience at school.
That's future networking.
That it's future networking.
Yes. And that's all resume building, too.
All
like
resume
if you were
building.
president of your sorority, or you were
should be
rush
on
chair,
there.
or you were,
By
those
the
are
way,
huge resume
You want to work in
builders.
fashion and you're the merchandising person at your sorority? I want to know that.
People take it off and we tell them to put it back on because that's experience.
But so moral of the story is I'm sitting there with these really nail biter, challenging questions. And I do it respectfully and I do it with a little humor and I'm cute.
That's what you say now.
I'm cute. But
Sorry to your tour
I
guide.
stumped them. Because a lot of people will say, like, the tour guide is about the
Getting there.
in.
Right.
They're not necessarily prepared to answer me about how much or how many students are actually using the Career Center, or where did the Career Center executives come from? And or is it equal opportunity? Is it the business school kids? Because we know that that's going to be okay. But what about the kids that are liberal arts or comm or sociology? Or psych, or some of the other degrees, because what's happening now is when we were 18, you certainly never declared your major all over social media when you're 17 years old.
I know, it's so wild.
So wild. I'm like, I didn't even know what I was
such
doing.
and such as a blah blah major. I'm like, girl, you're going to change your major in like 2 minutes
1,000%.
anyway.
Like you're going to get there and be
Let's
like,
not
whoa.
be so committed.
Yeah, like math.
I love when I see the undeclared on those social media posts. I'm like,
thank
good
God.
for you.
Oh, by the way, they have reverse judgment now. If you say undeclared, you're kind of like,
Now I have the admit it question for you, Jamie.
Yes.
Admit it. Right now, the school that you think has prepared kids the best when they come to you, and it's okay if you don't go blue, that's all right, but a school that kind of shouts out to you right now that you're like, those kids, they kind of like got a thing.
You know what? It's funny because I have always been extremely biased to Michigan in every way. Anybody that knows me knows I'm obsessed with where I went to school. My best friends are from there. Every single thing about me bleeds blue and gold. However, I really don't think that these larger state schools are preparing these kids as much as we'd like them to be, is the truth.
it's true.
So our smaller
UCLA did.
school,
You
0.
have to find it, guys.
But
But
You
it
have
does
to
give
find
you.
there are resources at some of these schools now that were not there when I was there. that I also find these kids are not necessarily tapping into, like smaller career centers. Like at Michigan, there's now a career hub through the literature, science, and arts major, which was my major. So instead of going to the main campus career center, you can go to the career center that's for your major.
But you have to look for it.
You have
But
to
you
look
have to
for it
look
if you're
for it
at
and
those
find the people.
schools.
But there are great resources. I just don't find that students are utilizing them the way that
So
we
is it
want
more
them
the
to.
kids?
It
or-
is. It is that it's not that the schools don't offer it. What we're finding is that the schools do have it. They are just not looking for it the way that they should be, the student. But really, the answer is the smaller the school, the more prepared is what we're finding.
Yes.
And I was a big rah-rah kid. I still believe in it. I would want to go do it again. I would start over and do it all again. I probably wouldn't get into Michigan. I would have to go to a dupe, which is fine.
And I've got the list for you right here.
I would
I'd
happily
have to
go to a
manage
dupe.
those expectations, girlfriend.
And I got into some of those dupes and got deferred from Michigan and reached out to my representative and found out why I didn't get in and then got in, which is a story for another podcast because it's a fabulous one. But I was one of those kids. Mike Nazareth was his name and he was my rep and I stalked him. But anyway.
Yay, Mike.
Yay, Mike. And I will say that the smaller the school, the better prepared. Like we are finding our students out of Villanova, Fordham, even some of the smaller big schools, like actually our kids from Tulane are extremely prepared, but they're still looking for help. But our Auburn kids, our Michigan kids, Clemson, they're still struggling.
It's hard.
a
It's
little bit.
really hard. I was one of those people.
Same.
It's really hard. But
And
being
we
in a
were
big
one
school,
of each, right? She went to small, I went to
Right.
big.
Richmond.
So Richmond.
I mean, listen, I am biased. Richmond does a great job.
You know what? You guys are going to sing with this podcast. They're going to single-handedly change the popularity of these schools.
Richmond is
just watch.
but LinkedIn
That's
did
how much power
LinkedIn
we have.
did
Yeah.
an article about being prepared, which was it's about time LinkedIn did it, right? Because we should be looking at it from the other side.
Right.
But a Richmond kid is just extremely knowledgeable. Now, granted, I am an example of someone that Richmond could not service because I wanted to work in beauty and fashion, and their idea of that in 1999, oh God help us all, was that I would work in the marketing department at Capital One, right? And I didn't want that. But if it weren't for that
that's so
story,
beautiful.
It's so
that's
beauty heavy.
so
Uh-huh.
beautiful. But if it weren't for that story, I wouldn't be here.
True.
Right. And they have done, they have a fashion focused programming and now a networking and all this different stuff. And a school like that does a lot of things. The smaller programs really need a lid in.
Ask the tough questions
you have
about
to.
lots.
Or
Be
D-
that mom.
DM
no
me.
one's clocking you, or
Yes,
DM her,
DM me and I will tell you what to ask.
or DM them because you want to start working with them. That is
Yes.
actually the point.
Great.
You
Awesome.
guys are amazing.
Thank you.
We're doing this again. It's
Can't
happening
wait.
again.
Please.
I love you, Marissa and Jamie. How can people get in touch with you?
Best way to find us is on our Instagram. It's at _ the DreamCatchers.
Two little underscores.
Two little underscores. Our website is thedreamcatchers.life, which LOL, when we first got it, we hated it. And now we love it because it's your life and it's your
It
career.
actually makes so much
Right?
Well, and
Like .com wasn't available. And we were like, why isn't .com available? And then we're like, you know what? It
Dot
feels
life
right.
it
This
is.
is better. The DreamCatchers.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Who knew?
You got it. You heard it here first, or fifth, depending. And if it's the fifth time you've heard it, you better email
You
us.
sign up.
Run, don't walk.
Thanks for tuning in to Admit It with Alexis White. If you're working on your college applications and want guidance every step of the way, visit alexiscollegeexpert.com to find resources and support tailored for you. For even more tips, stories, and college insights, make sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram @collegeexpert. Until next time, good luck, and remember, you don't have to do this alone.